Good Thursday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson. Let's go ahead and talk about the weather for your Thursday evening going into your future. We have some stuff that we are going to go on and talk about tonight. But before we get into that, if you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Also, make sure that you go on and hit the subscribe button if you have not already either. Right now, it seems like we have around a good 5 people that have watched so far and only 3 likes. So go ahead and hit the like button. And we have 652 subscribers. So we are 48 away from that main goal of 700 subscribers. Also, share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, even people that you don't even talk to, or maybe somebody that you don't even like. Because not only does it help me out, helps me get out the better content, but it also goes on just shows your support to the channel. So, that and then what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, for the first off, for starters, looks like we will always talk about the weather for what's currently going on. We'll talk about the weather for tonight, tomorrow, short-term future, long-term future. We will talk about as we go into, well, that's actually just for tonight. I'm talking about this right here. We will be talking about how it will be frigid tomorrow morning. That will be one of the main things as well. Maybe even a bit of a fire danger as well. We will also talk about how it's going to be cool and mostly dry as we go into Saturday with a bit of a warming trend at first. You know, mid 40s, low 50s for our highs. So it will be warmer than what it is now, but won't last long as a wintry mix potential Saturday night going to Sunday. I'm just gonna say, if you don't want snow, if you don't want snow, you might be happy hearing this news. But we'll talk about that once we get there, and then we'll talk about dangerous cold as we go into early next week, Monday into Tuesday nights, as cold weather advisories are possible again on those 2 days. So let's go on and talk about first what's currently going on. Well, right now, if we go on and look at the radar, nothing in terms of convection, but we do have cold weather advisories now for the pretty much just for the low country area of South Carolina. Goes all the way from pretty much from Berkeley County all the way down towards the coastal areas, all the way over into the South Carolina Georgia borderline. And so, obviously, this is for those cold temperatures tonight. Also, they do have still have a little fire risk here as well. I think that's about to go away, but everybody else in the state does. I just have to go on and turn it on. If I go on and find it real quick, I think it's winter. I think it's cold weather advisory. Okay, well, for some reason it's not showing up. So, but everybody in the state, I'm pretty sure, has a cold, or at least close to a cold weather advisory right now. I know everybody in the low country does, and I think that's the only area for right now. But what about the entire U.S.? Well, if we go in and scroll our way out, you can see that we do in fact have some rainfall and snowfall going on. We have snowfall going on in Wisconsin, Illinois, going on in between Wisconsin and Michigan. Also, some snowfall going on up here inside of New York, Vermont, going on inside of Connecticut a little bit, maybe even some snowfall and some rainfall in North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska getting in on some rainfall and some snowfall, Minnesota getting in on some of it as well, and then maybe even over here inside of Montana. Now, what's going on in terms of our cloud cover? Well, for right now, it looks like clouds are mainly off the coast. Everyone is mainly clear right now. Even if we go and look at our cloud cover for the future, it won't last long as we go to around 12 o'clock in the morning. We'll go on and continue to push this forward all the way to 2 a.m., all the way to 4 a.m., 5 a.m. We start to see some cloud cover up there inside of the upstate a little bit. Then we get to around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, all the way to around 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock p.m. And it looks like that we are still nice and clear. Going on all the way to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and just continuing all throughout tomorrow, nice and clear conditions. Then as we move into Saturday, that's when things start to take a little bit of a turn here. As we go into around 4, 5 to 6 o'clock in the morning, you start to see some cloud cover up there inside of the upstate. Even if you go on over here near 9 o'clock, right here in the morning on Saturday, that cloud cover is really starting to cover the state. And it covers mainly low country, Midlands, Petey, Grand Strand, upstate. Has, for the most part, upstate for the most part is more clear than the other regions, but it will cloud back up relatively quickly as you go into the evening time. Current temperatures right now, we have around a good 34 in Somerville, 37 in Charleston, and 37 in Beaufort, 38 Hilton Head Island, and even around a good 34 in Georgetown, 35 inside of Murray's Inlet, and 35 in Myrtle Beach, 31 Conway, and 34 in North Myrtle Beach, 30 in Orangeburg, and 29 in Aiken, 29 also inside of Columbia and even Sumter, 28 Hartsville, 29 in Florence, and 25 up here inside of Lancaster, Newbury, 26 in Greenwood and Lawrence, and 26 in Greenville, 25 Spartanburg, Gaffney, York, and even 24 in Rock Hill. Low temperatures for tonight, 19 in Greenville. Yes, you heard that correctly. 19 Greenville, 19 in Spartanburg, as well as 19 in Rock Hill. Florence, 18 in Kingstree, 22 in Moncks Corner, 21 in Walter Brown, 26 in Charleston, 22 in Georgetown, and 24 in Myrtle Beach, 30 Hilton Head Island, and 20 inside of Greenwood, 20 Anderson as well. And so, pretty much the highlight for tonight is going to be those frigid, dangerous temperatures. So, and that's just not even, that's not only just for just the actual temperatures, but even if we go into the wind chills as well. If we go, I'm going to replace this real quick. You go and look at the actual minimum temperatures right now. You have around, 15 in Greenville, 19, Spartanburg, 19, Rock Hill, 21, Columbia, 22 in Orangeburg, 21 in Walterboro, 27 in Charleston. So that's wind chill value. That's not, actual low temperatures, but this is when the wind's going. That's how it can feel. High temperatures for tomorrow. You have around a good 47 in Greenville, 48 in Spartanburg, and 46 in Rock Hill, 48 also inside of Newbury, and 49 in Greenwood, 49 in Columbia, and 49 in Orangeburg, 50 in Barnwell, and 49 in Walterboro, 49 in Charleston, and 48 Moncks Corner, 49 in Kingstree, 48 inside of Georgetown, 48 in Myrtle Beach, and 48 in Dillon, Florence, and 50 also inside of Hilton Head Island. So in terms for our temperatures, like I'm saying, it's not going to have much of a rebound as we go into tomorrow as well. So it's going to continue. To go on and just stay cold as we go throughout tonight and then tomorrow as well. And with those wind chills added, that will only just make things worse and more miserable. So like I say, you have any pets, bring them inside. You have any neighbors, check on them, make sure that they're all right. If you have any pipes outside that needs to be protected, or even the pipes under your house that aren't wrapped, drip your pipes. Go on and open up the cabinet so the heat from the house can get to them. And especially, do not forget your plants, which my plant is still outside, so I still have to go back outside. And I still got to go back outside to go get the heat turned on in my car for tomorrow as well. So I still got to go back outside, and it's already 35 degrees outside. So, I'm still not done out there. But hopefully you guys all did your preparation and not lacking like I am. Now, what about our rainfall? Well, for the most part, it looks like that we're not going to have any sort of rainfall for the next 24 hours, so that goes all the way throughout tonight, and it goes all the way throughout tomorrow and tomorrow night. Now, in terms of the crazy score as well, we're at a 48. I think that's the highest one that we've seen of the year so far, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure this is the highest one that I've seen, and so far for the year. Right now we are at a 48. For the reason being, number one, these cold temperatures, extreme cold for South Carolina standards. That's the dominant, most hazardous factor for tonight. Widespread lows in the upper teens to the low 20s. Even inside the little valley areas, it could potentially dip all the way down to the mid-teens, with wind chills matching air temperatures in teens to around the 20s areas. Under calm conditions, that creates significant frostbite/hypothermia risk, especially for prolonged unprotected exposure. Skin can freeze in 30 minutes or less in teens wind chill. The ongoing cold weather advisory, it has expanded a little bit, mainly inside the low country. It underscores that the public safety threat to people, pets, plants, infrastructure, pipes at high birth risk with, extended sub-freezing, all of that stuff. That's the main hazard for tonight. But that's not the only reason. Strong radiational cooling as well. You have clear skies, calm light wind. We just had a cold front that passed by, extremely dry air. I mean, drops, I mean, those temperatures are going to be dropping fast overnight, make it making it definitely the coldest night of this Arctic air break so far, or this Arctic outbreak so far. But it will go on, and we'll have more, and below freezing for 8 to 12 plus hours statewide. But other than that, though, it seems like we're still calm. Lack of wind gusts, fog, precipitation that keeps it from going into the strong category. So let's go on now and check out the SPC outlook for tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. Thunderstorm risk, non-existent. So we're not looking for anything there. Anything in terms of fire, we're just talking about a bit of a fire risk. Nothing here either. So, I'll continue to go on and look for it to see if they try to add something. But for right now, still nothing. Still nothing right now. And even in terms of excessive rainfall, same thing. No excessive rainfall here either. And so let's go on now and check out the models. The models, the way how they work, times in the top right corner of your screen. Make sure you go and pay attention to that, because there might be times where I do not mention the time, and that you probably need to pay attention to the time. So make sure that you go and pay attention to it, even if I don't say anything about it. So we're going to start off here, 9 o'clock p.m., as we always do. And as we go in and push this forward, starting off here, push this forward all the way through tomorrow, going into 6 o'clock p.m. on the 16th, nice and dry. And then we get to 1 o'clock in the morning on the 17th, 2 o'clock in the morning, and we start seeing some rainfall going on up here inside of the upstate. Now, this is bringing some rainfall with it, obviously. Bringing some, maybe some sleet up there inside of the very far up mountains, but like nothing really for us down here. Even as we get into around 7 o'clock in the morning on the 17th, rainfall, and that's about it. Now, the main day for us to potentially get that snowfall would be on the 18th, so right now we're still too far out for it, but we can go look at the NAM 3-kilometer model, and the NAM right now honestly doesn't say too much right now. Well, this is the 0Z, that's probably why, but still, it doesn't really say too much, even as we go into 1 o'clock in the morning on the 18th. That's still a bit far, but it kind of cuts it off. I mean, it's around like 3 o'clock in the morning here. It says some freezing rainfall may try to happen, early morning on Saturday around 3 o'clock in the morning in the very far upstate, but after that, it stays dry. And so let's go on and talk about the long-term future. So if we went on and, looked at the models yesterday, if you were here last night, when we were talking about this, we saw this huge amount of snowfall trying to go throughout the state. Let me show you what it looks like today. See that huge difference? This was yesterday. Huge amounts of snowfall. Not really huge, but at least a good amount. And look at this one. Huge amounts of rainfall instead. And so this is easily a bit of a just a downtrend, in my opinion. I think that now every model, it has its happy runs to where it goes absolutely crazy in terms of snowfall. Like even if we go back to the 12Z, it shows a good amount of snowfall. But like I said, we go back to the 18Z, doesn't show much. It does not show much at all. So it is downtrending a little bit. The snowfall rates are downtrending. In fact, they're downtrending. That even at the National Weather Service offices, they said that the confidence is getting lower and lower for snowfall throughout these areas. And so, not a good sign. Not a good sign if you like snowfall. Not a good sign at all. But if you don't like snowfall, this is a great sign for you. Even if you continue this forward for the newer model, again, rainfall, and that's it. It gets up out of there. We can pass this forward even more, all the way towards like the 19th, going into the 20th. We have some cooler air behind it. Obviously, this is when we're going to get some more Arctic air making its way down around like the 19th, the 20th-ish or so. And then it stays dry. Then we get to around like the 23rd, some rainfall moving through there. Some rainfall on the 24th, the 25th, getting some rainfall. But it stays dry the 26th. We get to around like the 28th. And we still have some rainfall, but this time could be some heavy rainfall as a little system maybe trying to move through during the end of the month. And after that, I think that's about it. So that's all pretty much for the GFS. But if we go on to the European model, because that one honestly has been a bit on the downtrend as well. In fact, it doesn't even show any rainfall for the entire state of South Carolina. It shows no snowfall for the entire state. So shows rainfall, does not show snowfall though. Does not show snowfall. So again, another bit of a downtrend here. If you remember, even the icon in the CMC, the Canadian model, did not show any snowfall at all, and it still seemed like that's the same thing that they're showing, no snowfall for the state. Even if we go over into the icon, same thing, not showing any snowfall for the state either. Shows some snowfall definitely in North Carolina though. So we're just gonna have to continue to just watch. We'll see what the models say tomorrow, but if you wanted snow, I do apologize, but it looks like that the confidence is just getting lower and lower and lower, especially since now we're about to hit that 1 to 3 day range. I mean, as early as, if you don't count today, technically we'd already be there, but if you don't count today, then tomorrow would be that day to where we'd be 1 to 3 days out until this event would happen, because it would happen on Sunday. But that's all that I have to say in terms for the convection. What about for our dew points? Temperatures, all that kind of stuff. Well, I did want to go on and talk about next week, because next week we're not going to be done with these frigid, cold temperatures as we get into around like the 19th and the 20th or so. So look at all this cold air that we have coming down from the Arctic, Canada, down over into the state. This will bring us temperatures down all the way into freezing territory again. This is the 20th right here early in the morning. Most of us inside the 30s, a lot of us inside of like the mid, maybe even low 20s. And even as you go into the day before as well, still 20s. And then you keep this pushing this forward. And then as we get past, that time period, we're going to try and warm back up. Right here around like the 23rd here. We have some nice warm weather trying to get through. But it won't take long till we get to around like the 26th. We have some cold air pushing through here. And we have some more freezing temperatures again on around like the 26th, the 27th, maybe even close to the 28th, the 29th. So these freezing temperatures aren't done. We still have a lot more to get through. And now we're going to go on and look at the dew points. The dew points, these are not temperatures. This is just air, showing how dry the air is and how moist the air is. The higher the number, the more moist the atmosphere or the air is. So we're going to start off here on the 16th. There goes the secondary cold front right here. On the 17th going into the 18th for a day of snowfall. And then as you go all the way past this into like the 19th, going into the 20th, going into the 21st, just some more cooler and dry air. Another cold front building, pushing its way down on the 25th. Then as you push this, you can even see, look at how dry this air is on the 26th. Just how we are going to get potentially maybe some very elevated fire conditions as we go into the 26th of January. So I'll keep an eye on that, but just see how dry this air right here will be. It's going to be interesting to see what these fire conditions will look like as we go towards the end part of the month. But after that, I mean, pretty much just the normal. Just seems like we're going to just be back kind of in the dew points back into like the 30s, trying to get a bit into the 40s again as we end off the month. So that's pretty much all I have to say in terms for the long-term future. Nothing else really for me to talk about. All hope is not lost for any sort of snowfall, but, we still have a lot of stuff that we're trying to look at right now. Still have a lot of stuff we have to look at right now. For example, that low pressure off the coast. What's that going to look like? Where in the world is that low pressure going to go? And then also the timing for the cold air. That's also another huge factor for all of this. But let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for today. If I go ahead and scroll my way in real quick. My Aunt Lulu is here first. He says, "Good evening, everyone. I pray that everyone has had a wonderful day." Well, I did. Well, thank you so much for that. And then Mr. Chris comes in. He says, "Good evening, everyone. Hope y'all had a great day and staying warm." Well, I am, for the most part. Oh, you can't even see it. Hold on. What the world is going on? There we go, right there. Okay, there you go. Now you should be able to see it. My nan says, "Good evening. A chilly, but a good day. I did enjoy it." Well, that's glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that from you. She, then Mr. Chris come back and says, "Please remember to go and hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also, share with everyone that you know. It's free and it helps grow the channel." Absolutely correct. Right now, we have around a good, let's see, 15 people that have tuned in so far, and we only have 6 likes right now. So if you are part of that 9 that have not hit the like button yet, go in and do so. It's free, and you can change your mind at any time. It's free. It's free. Things like that usually aren't really that, usually when you have to like subscribe to something, usually it's not free, but this is free. And then my Aunt Lewis says today in Georgetown it was cold and sunny. What? Okay, let me close all this stuff out too. Um, Cold and sunny. Well, thank you so much for that weather report. Pretty much the same thing at my house. Cold and sunny today. It was also a bit windy as well. Also was a bit windy. Then Mr. Chris is coming back and says currently it's 34 degrees here in Monk's Corner with a wind chill of 31. Right now, my older weather station says it's around 34-ish degrees. Let me go ahead and check out mine real quick. Mine right now says, I don't think it says a wind chill. Yeah, 35 feels like 35, so it's going to stay kind of in that area. And then Maya Lewis says in Georgetown it was 47 degrees when I went at 3:40 a.m. this morning. Again, thank you for that weather report for where you are in Georgetown. Mr. Chris says it was cold all day, didn't get above 50 degrees. Cheryl says, "Greetings, everyone. Greetings to you." Then she says we also had some wind. Mr. Chris says, "Same here. I'm right here on the lake here in Monk's Corner." And then my Aunt Shirley says, "Blessings to all. We're in for a very cold few days, showing around 18 degrees in Raleigh in the morning." So that's all that I can see here in terms of the audience for me, though. So thank you so much for that weather report, though. And we'll talk about Raleigh for sure, because I have some stuff that we're going to talk about over there, especially with those low temperatures. But we're going to go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, 4 locations, what am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, and it's not even their main area, we go on and talk about their areas. So we're going to start off with San Antonio first. You indeed do have low temperatures tonight at around 42. High temperatures tomorrow at around 73. And then low temperatures tomorrow night at around a good 47. No precipitation is expected at this time. What about, excessive rainfall, severe weather? It looks like you're good there as well. So what's going on in terms for your long-term future, really just for the week? Looks like for the most part that you're going to continue to be dry until around Tuesday. You have like a 20% chance of shower activity. Wednesday at 30% chance. And it looks like that you are going to definitely cool down. Saturday 56, Sunday 59. You go over into, Tuesday 55. Then it will warm up a little bit, 62 on Wednesday. So it will continue to kind of go more up, down, than up again. And then for Raleigh, you have low temperatures tonight at around 21, high temperatures tomorrow at around 46, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 34. In terms for your precipitation right now, it looks like you're good as well, so you're not really expecting anything there. But if I go on and look at your future, looks like you do have a chance for some snowfall on Saturday night going into Sunday. Chance of rain/snow on Saturday night, and then a chance of rain/snow mix on Sunday. So you will be watching for that. You will need to watch for that. And not only that, but also your wind chills as well. Right now, you're having gusts right now up to around 22 miles per hour. Tomorrow morning, those wind chills will be feeling like 15 degrees. So it's going to be cold, cold, cold up there as you go into tomorrow morning as well. Same thing like it is down here inside of South Carolina. Now, what about over here inside of Philadelphia? You have low temperatures tonight around 22, high temperatures tomorrow at around 35, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 30, or around 29 ish, somewhere around like the 29 to 30 ish range. In terms for your rainfall, it looks like right now, no precipitation tonight, tomorrow, but tomorrow night, you do in fact have a 30% chance of snow. Yes, a 30% chance of snow as you go into tomorrow night, and that will increase 50% chance of snow, rain slash snow, kind of like a mix on Saturday. And then on Sunday, a slight chance of snow at a 20% chance. In terms for your severe weather and excessive rainfall, and I forgot if I talked about Raleigh's, but both of those locations do not have any sort of excessive rainfall or severe weather. But for Philadelphia, looks like for you, you will be kind of staying in this range right here. In fact, it looks like you're only going to get cooler. I mean, like for example, on MLK night, you're going to be 14 degrees. 21 is going to be your high temperature on Tuesday. 13 is going to be your low temperature on Tuesday night. So it's going to just continue to drop down more and more and more. And then Duncan, Oklahoma being the last area with low temperatures tonight around 38, high temperatures tomorrow at around 55, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 29. Precipitation is not expected at this time. You will see, some high wind gusts tomorrow, and that will come with a little severe weather threat, not for, thunderstorms, excessive rainfall, but for fire. Tomorrow, you do have to watch out for some fire concerns. You're not in the main part of it, but really the area to your west is over there near like Lawton, Oklahoma, and Altus, Oklahoma. But for where you are, it looks like that you are just inside of that elevated risk, that level 1 out of 3 instead of 2 out of 3, like they're over there in the west. But I do think that you still should not burn anything. Still should not burn anything. Still should take it seriously, and just don't burn anything. That definitely not gonna be worth the risk or anything like that. And so up to 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts, humidity's gonna be down. I would just go ahead and wait it out. And even as you go into Saturday, wind gusts will be up to around 22-ish miles per hour. And then in terms for your future, it looks like that you're going to actually warm back up into like the 50s, as you get into around Sunday, 57. Then it's going to kind of drop again MLK Day and Tuesday, but then it'll rise back up to around 58, 59 Wednesday going into Thursday of next week. And then that's it for these 4 areas. So what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise? An Arctic front will bring widespread snow squalls through Friday from the upper Midwest to the Ohio Valley. Heavy snow rates and strong winds will lead to near-zero visibility and dangerous travel conditions. High winds will continue across the northern and the central high plains through Friday with wind gusts above 60 miles per hour likely, leading to hazardous travel conditions. So we'll see that. We also will see some freezing temperatures, as far down south. Yes, as far down south as over there near Miami, for example. If I go in and check it out, they'll have low temperatures tonight at around 42. But, not quite. Not quite freezing temperatures, but for them, 42 degrees for them, that is very cold for them. In fact, they have protect people, pets, plants, pipes, all that kind of stuff. But mainly, I think that's mainly for the freeze warning area because, other areas like Orlando, for example, is in there for some freezing conditions. Southern Georgia's in there, southeastern Alabama is. But like up here, we're in that winter mode already. We know, freezing temperatures definitely are possible, but, not really this cold to where we're in like the 20s-ish or so. Anything else that I see for the most part? Nothing else. Maybe some dense fog over here inside the west, but that's about it. And that's all that I have to say really for tonight. So let's go ahead and check out the chat one more time. My Aunt Lula says it would not hurt my feelings to not have any snow. It wouldn't hurt mine either. I'd rather it not snow than just bring a little dusting of nothing, honestly. I'd rather, not get my hopes up more than anything. Thad says, good evening, everyone. I trust all is well and everyone's safe from the elements. Well, I am. Hopefully, everyone else is. And then Mr. Chris says, everyone, please stay safe, warm, and hydrated. Absolutely correct there as well. So, like I said, before I go and get up out of here for the night, if you, first off, if you've not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Hit the subscribe button and hit the share button. Also, just make sure that you are staying warm tonight. I'm going to make sure I have all my stuff ready for tonight. And you should as well do the same. Top fans of the night for tonight, I believe Mr. Chris is still at that number 1 spot. My Aunt Lou is at number 2. And then at number 3, my Nana is at number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. Oh, the thing's muted. There we go. If you want to be a top fan, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, as well as being a subscriber of the channel. And then also going on being here early and be active inside the chat. If you are not active, you will not be a part of the top group unless it's a slow night or something like that. But to be at the tippy top, the more that you type, the more that you'll go on and be a part of the top group. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you as well. And that's all I have to say for tonight. So everyone have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. We just have to get through tomorrow, and we will be at the 3-day weekend for most of us. I believe most of us have a 3-day weekend. Some of us maybe not, but around 3-day weekend for a lot of us. And I will be back tomorrow morning with your Friday morning forecast update. Make sure that you are staying warm tonight. And if you have not done any precautions yet, any sort of protective stuff for pets, plants, pipes, anything like that, please do so. And everyone have a fantastic rest of your Thursday. Hit those 2 buttons before you leave.